Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching my videos. Yeah, looks like it's another crazy day here in on this planet. Basically, I can't believe everything that's going on. Is just like news everywhere. But here I am, right, on the bus here, driving the bus with Inti, and Inti, say hi to everybody.
Hello, people. As always, it's worth to remind you that this show is for entertainment purposes only, and this is not a financial advice. If you want to put any of your hard-earned money on the market, you should do your own personal research.
A little crazy this morning for me. I'm just like I'm a little disheveled because I'm trying to get all this information out to you guys. Right, today's show we're going to be talking about obviously Bitcoin and what's going on there, and also we're also going to talk about what the Fed is doing, right, and how they're just printing money and giving it out for money, giving it out for nothing, and also who knows, might be giving away chicks as well. I don't know what these crazy guys are doing over at the Fed. Uh, so, anyways, yeah, we're gonna also read some of what the crack smoking mainstream media has been doing about this, talking about this event, and then really showing you guys what this actually means, right? I saw on Ivan on Tech on my drive in to work today this amazing tweet, and I want to share it with you. Also, it looks like the Australian government is going full suicide, man. I mean, they're acting like that idiot on the in a horror movie, who goes, well, what's that noise over there? Let me go check that out, and then he gets crushed because he wants to be like the guy who the director wants to show off what could possibly happen. Anyways, just insane in the membrane things are going on in the market, right, and in this world. But you know what? It's another day, another craziness. So, anyways, let's get on to the Bitcoin TA here. Let me just bring up my screen. Well, I don't know about you, but I told people there was a not Ivan, sorry, Chris from Crypto. I'm like, I need some coffee in me, man. I didn't drink my coffee this morning. Anyways, on Chris's channel on Crypto, I told people, hey, you know what? There's a Hail Mary trade, right? Which I didn't have too much confidence in, right? But it was worthwhile trying to take because there's so little downside for you to take this trade, and it's way back here. Like, I mean, way back here, right? And so basically, I said we were right about here, and I said, hey, listen, why don't you take the trade around this area, around the 5,700 area, and then stop loss it a little bit lower than that, lower than this last turn here, but not much. It was the other turn at this 5600, right? And let it see what happens, right? And boy, oh boy, I told, like, it was late last night. I wanted to make that trade, and I was chatting with both Carl from the Moon and Chris, and they were showing off the Mandela effect, and I just totally forgot about my trade, and I just didn't get in. I'm so upset at myself, man. I was it was late. It was really late. Those guys are on the other side of the planet, right? We were chatting for like 2 hours about the Mandela effect, and that was quite shocking actually. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, right. So what do we do right now? Is Bitcoin going to continue up? Is it going to roll over and die? Yes, that is the $1 million question. The good news is that we're above the 13 MA on the weekly, right? And is this weekly? No, it's got to be daily. Duh. Yeah, it's the daily, right? Let's see what the weekly's at. The weekly's got a long way to go before we even get close to the 13 MA. But hey, the daily looks good. I would have expected another rollover, one more rollover, only because this is gonna be, regardless, is going to be a kind of a weird um, movement action. If we move out of here just straight up, um, it's okay. It's still okay if we get to the 2 week to 8,500 and then create another candle. That'd be fine as well. But we'd have to do that for not for us to check down here once again. So if we don't create railroad tracks, basically what we don't, if we don't create railroad tracks on the 2 week chart time frame, meaning that we have to close somewhere in this area of 8,500, and then also break the previous high. So there's a lot of ifs here. We have to recheck this area down here, right? So that's, you have to consider that as a possibility. So if we go a little bit higher, then roll over, and then create like a W action here, that would be so much better. That would create a clear bottom that would be not needed to be rechecked, and cause us to go higher. And you could say, hey, this was this was the absolute bottom for sure, right? We need that to say that for sure. Will the market give it to us? The market will do whatever the market wants to do. So you just don't know. All you know is right now for a trade, right? If you wanted to take a trade, don't do the 5 minutes unless you've learned how to trade. Let's go to the 4 hour. The 4 hour is looking good. It wants to go higher. We have like a little bit of resistance on this downward trend line that I have here, and we're in the green zone, the green buying zone. So if you're dollar cost averaging, just ignore all this, right, and buy, right? Because you're everywhere. Everywhere below this line of 7,200 is like a golden opportunity for you that you'd never thought would be possible. So that's what you should be doing. If you really want to learn how to trade, if you want to do this trading on Bybit and stuff like that, please learn how to trade first, right? And you can learn how to trade at the Rational Investor. They're going to be starting their first year classes sometime in about a month or so. So join the class, join in, right? Because they have like a chat room and so forth, and you can start learning well ahead in advance of the classes, and learn how to trade. Just like the first 3 months of the first year class, and you can learn how to trade and become, somewhat professional, right, Inti?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Inti's in the second year class, right, of the Rational Investor. How's it going over there?
It's incredible. The amount of valuable information that you get is just I cannot express it with words. I mean, what Brian told you from 30 years of experience, or what you learn about GAN, or the secrets of the market that nobody tells you, is invaluable.
Exactly. And you'll learn that a lot of the things that I say comes from Brian, right? When I say, like, the double bottoms, the what's it called? The person sleeping on the couch, the little lady strategy. It all is from Brian Beamish of the Rational Investor. And yeah, you'll learn everything that I've learned, and be able to do the things that I do when I trade as well. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in doing, because you know what, not everybody's interested in trading, and that's fine. You could always just buy and hold, and you can buy a Treasure wallet, or LAPAL wallet, and stick your cryptos on those, and just wait until the day that we need those cryptos. Wow, is my volume okay? Because I'm just realizing that my inputs are not showing up very well. How's my volume out there? Hopefully it's good. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in purchasing any of these items here, you can find them in the link in the description below. All right, with that said, let's talk about the next thing on my list is, the Fed Yeah, the Fed, everybody heard about what the Fed has done, right? They've opened the floodgates, right? They've allowed for money printing and so forth. And I'm reading this crackhead, right? I mean, I'm like, why the Fed's unlimited money printing scheme is the dollar positive in coronavirus times? 3 reasons. Right.
Read the please. Read the please, I beg you.
The Fed's buying everything mode provides firepower to fiscal stimulus positive for the economy. Guaranteed debt makes more U.S. assets safe, supporting the dollar. The Fed's shed is near empty, meaning it has nothing left to weaken the dollar. I mean, the guy who wrote this, right? After reading this, I feel like he was like on the table like this. Yeah, man.
Yeah, people do not understand, but you did that in the morning. It was like, oh, it was the best feeling I had in the whole month.
I know you're dying. You're dying when I did this. When I told him about
depression.
this, I read it to him first, right? And he was like he was on the floor. I mean, he couldn't stop laughing. But anyways, let me just I need to take this thing apart, right? The Fed buying everything. Okay, so if you could buy everything, right? You might think that's a good thing because you personally, obviously, because it's cool. You can buy everything, right? And without stop. But there are consequences to that action, right? If you own everything and nobody has anything, right? So that's the consequence of that action, right? Also, it's a stimulus for the economy. Like, so, if you buy up everything and nobody has anything, how's that going to stimulate the economy? Think about that for a second, right? I'm sure you don't need an IQ higher than a 5-year-old to know. Well, if Johnny has everything, we're not going to have anything. Yeah, dude. Guaranteed debt makes the U.S. assets safe, supporting the dollar. Okay, so the issue is, right, what causes the dollar to have value, dude, is that somebody has a debt that they have to scramble to get dollars in order to pay that debt. So when somebody realizes that debt is not going to get paid, right, they're going to lose money. They're going to lose their wealth and so forth. So what happens is somebody sells the debt instrument onto the market at a discount, thinking that, hey, I'm going to lose money. I don't want to lose everything, and maybe somebody else will buy it, and I'll get cash, right? So the guy's trying to get cash, right, with this asset that has lower value, right? Now, if you decide, hey, no, you're not going to sell it at a lower value because I'm the Fed and I'm going to buy it for you at full value, right? You're basically controlling the price of that asset, which is the bond that he's trying to sell. Now, if he sold it at a discount, right, obviously that would run the price of the value of the dollar higher. Now, if he sold it at the premium, at the right price, right, the price that's a fair price, that's not the market price, but basically the price that he paid for the coupon or whatever, then he is getting more money than he should have. And that money is going to eventually come into the market as he realizes, well, now that I got this cash, what am I going to do with it? And he's going to go and buy something real, tangible with that money because, dude, As you got this free, this easy money from the Fed, so does your neighbor, and he's going to eventually figure out. We all got cash, and yeah, so do you, and that cash can't buy anything right now because the market's not moving, no stocks, no nothing. But we can buy gold. We can buy Bitcoin. You see how that connects there, and then once you start buying stuff, right, the value of the dollar starts to drop. That's going to take a little while for these crackheads to figure this out, but that's what's going to happen. So the final point, he says that the Fed has nothing left, right? Yeah, the Fed has effectively thrown the kitchen sink, right, at this whole market. There's absolutely nothing left except maybe negative interest rates or something like that. But man, this is not dollar positive at all. In the short run, you might think it is, right? Well, look, the dollar's going up, but effectively, the dollar would go up if the Fed did nothing, and it's still going up, even though the Fed is printing more money, because everybody's just going to cash and not doing anything right now. They're just going to cash, right? I want cash, I want cash, I want cash, and they're just asking from wherever they can get it, and the Fed's like everywhere. So I'm thinking that once that stops, right, that slowly, eventually, people will come to their senses and realize one by one they got to get out of the dollar, because everyone, the Fed has all the bonds, and they have all the cash, and nothing, and they don't have anything to buy. Wow, that's incredible. Anyways.
Davinci, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Or maybe for the public too. But after all what the Fed and the government is doing right now, is this really free market?
Well, no, obviously not. I mean, would you say that if the government and the Federal Reserve are teaming up to buy and control all the market, right? Buy everything, right? They're buying even equities. I think they haven't gotten to the equities yet, but probably through third parties they are buying the equities. But the Bank of Japan has purchased 80% of all equities last time I checked. And so obviously they own the whole market. So yeah, you're saying that how's this free market? There is no free market here. We are controlled by the government, and the government now, even here in Chile, right? I mean, they've taken over full production of food, and that scares me, because they're not going to do it right. They're not going to allow prices to go up. They're not going to let the market clear properly, and when they do that, right, what happens is they're going to have to force workers to work at a lower price, and we've already seen what the end result of that is. Right, in Venezuela and Argentina and everywhere else, right? It's everybody starves, right? So yeah, I'm very concerned about that, and hopefully, our government here, especially in Chile, like, we got to concern ourselves with where we're at right now, and you have to concern yourself with where you are and what your government is doing, and then you have to take action. You cannot bet on the government doing right. That's always going to be a losing bet, right? So here, right, the government is doing wrong. They're with controlling the food supply, and obviously they're going to control the prices, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm like already, like, I've told my wife that, hey, I would like to take up the whole the grass, right, and start planting everywhere as much as I possibly can, vegetables and stuff like that, because I really think that we're going to need it, honestly, in about 6 months, when the government really does a botched job on the economy. Anyways, let me get back to some of my points here. Another thing that I want to talk about with the Fed printing money, why this is really bad for us overall. And some people might think You know what? I'm going off on a tangent here, but some people might think, well, wait a second, the Fed is just buying up bonds and stuff like that, and that's not the end of the world. And people might they're going to buy back from the Fed eventually, and yes, some people will. But in the meantime, consider what this is doing to you as a person who works for this money, and then somebody else gets it for free. And imagine, right? You work your whole lifetime to earn $2 million, and somebody got that $2 million. One person got that amount of money 1,000 times over for free. Now, consider what that means. That means for the rest of your life, you are a slave to that one person who got it for free, right? And that is just abhorrent. This is why I'm so into Bitcoin. This is why I support Bitcoin. Everybody who wants Bitcoin needs to work for it, right? Needs to actually produce something for it, except for these guys who are getting the printed money. But they're a little bit behind the curve on that. So you have to be ahead of these guys who have this free printed money, and buy Bitcoin well ahead of these guys. You don't want to be the one who's buying Bitcoins from these guys who got it for free, right? That would be horrible. That would be unjust. So, use whatever few dollars you've got and to save as savings, and buy a little bit of Bitcoin here and there. Now, this person also goes on to talk. Head over. I have the link in the description below, and I showed you guys that. Please head over there and hit the like button on this. Right? She said that 500,000 people need to work their entire lives collectively to earn $1 trillion. Right? And then that some one person gets that free. It's just ridiculous, right? Right? How long does the Fed need to print that $1 trillion? It's like the time it takes to move your finger down to hit the enter key, right? And that's it. And then that $1 trillion, your whole the lifetimes, the work of 500,000 people is created instantly. Just pause and think about that for a second. Alrighty. Well, moving on to my next important story of the. Before I go on to my next story, I have to play this, right? I mean, this is hilarious, right? I mean, a little bit of levity here.
Cow goes moo, the frog goes croak, and the elephant goes toot. But there's one sound that no one knows. What does the Fed say?
Gotta love that one. That's a good one. Head over there and like this particular tweet. That's hilarious, right? Because the Fed just printing like crazy. All right. Well, there's crazy people everywhere, right? We have the crazy people from the Fed, and then crazy people writing about the Fed. Now we have like the crazy government of Australia, right? Says the schools will remain open based on the current coronavirus medical advice, PM says. Now, I get it, all right? You look at the numbers over here in Australia, right? And you go, oh, this is Austria, sorry. Where's Australia? Australia. I saw it here. There it is. You look at the numbers, and you're like, what the hell? What's there to worry about? There's 11 people in the hospital, right? And 2,000 cases. It's nothing, right? And so what's the big deal, right? That's what the government's saying. But the problem is, right? Right now they've gotten lucky, right? They haven't had a lot of severe cases and a lot of deaths based on this virus. But if they allow this thing to ramp up and allow the children to go back to school, the children are going to spread this disease like candy and from a piñata, right? They're going to spread it all over the place. killing a lot of people, a lot of old people, and also they're also going to ramp up the disease a lot faster, and so then this number will go up a lot faster, maybe surpass Italy and United States very very fast if they continue this route. And then this number will go well beyond what the hospitals can handle. And then this number over here will go to like 20% of, and close to like, probably around 10 to 18% is where it will go to of all the cases in total. That is the nightmare that's coming to Australia that they do not understand. But you know what? There has to be one idiot in the room, right? That does something stupid, so that the rest of the world could say, "Well, if we hadn't done this lockdown, we would have looked like Australia." So I guess that's what they're trying to do, right? So well, that's what Australia wants to do. That's what they're gonna do, and they just don't understand. You don't want this. You don't want this.
Apparently, the people is more intelligent than the government, because here says DJ Blitz, I am in Australia and nobody's sending their kids to school unless they absolutely have to.
Exactly.
I hope people be more intelligent than the government.
Exactly, because this is basically the nightmare that's coming to Australia, right? And then there's after that mass graves and stuff like that. If they listen to what the government is telling them to do, yeah, stay home, people. Don't send your kids to school, right? Even if they come and get you, just fight them everywhere you can, right? Because like that's just ridiculous and stupid, right? To send your kids to school when we're having a pandemic here and a serious virus. This virus is not some made up thing. It's not something that doesn't exist. This is real, people. This is coming to a theater near you, and it's going to be scary. Okay, so take this thing seriously. Stay at home. Avoid crowds more than two. Right? It's just me and Inti in this office right now, and no one else. So yeah, do that. Be careful and be safe out there. Okay, with that said, all right, let's head over to the questions and answer. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover today. Let me just make sure that we covered, the tweet, Australia's stupidness, we did all that. Alrighty, so let's talk about some questions that you guys have in the comment section. What do you guys got for me? What do you have for me, Inti?
Let's see. This is from Billion and ask, opinion on the digital dollar scheme.
Okay, my opinion on the digital dollar scheme. Yes, it's a scheme, all right. Well, it's going to happen, right? Because there's so many things that a digital dollar would give. Even though our dollar is digital right now, it's just not. It doesn't allow you enough freedom to move it around fast enough, right? And you want to be able to have it, use it as cash. So they're going to have some sort of scheme for the dollar, but how it looks like in the end, I have no idea. I want to build a decentralized system so that you guys don't have to worry about that. You could just go to your normal store, hold your bitcoins, and then when they want the Fed coin, right, you can transfer instantly to this from your wallet to the bitcoins to the Fed coin to the store instantly without you even noticing that you transferred Fed coin. And when they give you change or whatever, if they pay you, right, it instantly comes back and this converts right to Bitcoin for your savings, and you don't have to worry about that. That's the kind of thing you want to have, so that when the government tries to say, okay, well, you can only accept the Fed coin. Well, great, I'll do that, but I won't keep it in Fed coin, and that'll be that. And that's what we want to move towards, right? We don't want to be able to be controlled by the government at all, and avoid them at 100% all costs, right? Because they'll always do things to screw us over. All right, next question.
Okay, this is from Julius Horvat and ask Davinci, do you think there will be a financial reform? And if yes, what kind of financial reform will it be?
Financial reform. Well, yes, I think we're going to see. They're going to try the SDRs first, right? They're going to try special drawing rights. What's special drawing rights? Probably haven't heard this before. I wouldn't expect most of you in my audience have heard of the SDR. Basically, it's a currency that has existed for quite some time now. It's a basket of different currencies, and the IMF is allowed to print that and send it to other countries and so forth. This currency is 100% digital. You can't see it, can't hold it. You can't open an account in SDRs, right? But governments and large corporations can, and they're probably going to switch this over to that and call it something new first, right? And see how well that works. It has a percentage of like I think 5 different currencies, and the bulk of it is obviously the United States dollar, right? And the euro is the biggest contributor to the SDR. So let's see what they do with that. If that doesn't work, obviously they're gonna have to go back to a gold standard, right? And obviously you know where that leads, right? They're gonna slowly take the gold away from that gold standard, right? And those are the 2 options they have on the table right now. Okay, next question.
Next question. Okay, this is from Statistically Challenged and says Davinci, best argument to make to my 20 years old friends right now that the dollar is doomed.
Best argument to make. You know what the thing is, right? Every single person comes to their senses in their own way, in their own time. The way you're not going to be able to convince them that the dollar is doomed, right? They will figure it out eventually, some way or somehow. But what you can do is plant the seeds, right? So that they can go, well, didn't you talk about something like that when they realize it, when they finally come to their senses. And make the right choices in order to protect themselves. You can start saying, man, with all this printed money giving out to the rich people, they're going to eventually buy things, and things are going to go expensive, right? You start that way, right? And they'll be like, yeah, man, that's not right. And you can start with something as simple as that, because it's obvious, right? If you get free money, right, and you start buying stuff, right, ahead of people who don't get free money, right, it's going to cause prices to go up, right? You could say that, right? Point those things up. And then you can then go, well, yeah, so if they agree with that, then you can go on to say, hey, yeah, that means the dollar is going to have less and less value because, I'm not going to be able to get as much stuff. And then it starts to clue in, right? You can start that way. And slowly, don't try to get into any kind of fights or arguments. If they disagree and say, yeah, you know what, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to buy a bunch of stuff anyways. Those rich people, they already have everything that they want. And then you go, okay, yeah, guess you're right. And well, let's see what they do, right? Because they're gonna do something with that money, right? That's all you have to say. And don't argue, don't fight, and see what happens, right? And then eventually, over time, they're going to figure it out. All right, next question.
Okay, this is from Kirby. How would the economy work if deflationary money like Bitcoin is the reserve currency? Isn't deflation a bigger problem than inflation?
Oh, I love this question. I get this question every once in a while, especially on Twitter and stuff like that, and I love it. It's an amazing question because what the problem is, right, is when we were on a gold standard, right? Well, what happened was as we got richer, because you get rich, the people get richer over time because you work hard, right? You come from poverty, you work hard, you build up, right? You become rich because all the gold comes into your country, and then you start realizing, oh man, I don't have to work as hard anymore, and everything else outside the country is really, really cheap, and then you start spending, right? So you start spending and living like off the fat of land and doing very well. And then all of a sudden, all that money goes away. And you realize that you don't have a lot of money left and there's not a lot of gold left. And so your economy, your local economy gets starved for money. And because gold can only be divided so much, you don't have any money in the economy. And because it's a low divisibility of gold, and that's where it comes into problem, right? Where money disappears. And so with the Bitcoin, uh, Bitcoin is divisible infinitesimally. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be only divisible by 8 decimal places. In fact, with Lightning Network, they've added 4 more digits to the divisibility of Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. So Bitcoin is divisible even more, and then it can be divisible forever. So you'll never run out of money. In fact, you could actually live off the whole economy can live off of just one Bitcoin. Now that will never happen because everything will be cheap there in that economy, and where the economy that has a lot of Bitcoins will eventually go, well, wait a second, I can buy that stuff over there for like next to nothing, for like less than a sat. I'm going to go over there and buy it, right? And then all the Bitcoins will just start flowing over in that direction. The other issue is with deflation is people who take out debt. A lot of obviously there's always going to be people that borrows money, even if we do have Bitcoin, right? And what they'll do is borrow that money to build a factory, not buy houses, because actually you can't. In the new world, if we are on a Bitcoin standard, you'll never be able to buy a house with Bitcoin ever. I mean, anybody who does that lends you Bitcoin to buy a house, they're just a fool because they don't understand economics, and because you don't buy a consumer item with debt. Period. No. That will not happen. Same with cars and so forth. All that will go away, right? And so you'll only be you'll be lending money to people who have like farmland or people who have an idea that will produce something better that people will buy, and so forth. Now, if you do that at the wrong time, right? When for example, everybody's living off the high off the hog, and things seems like nothing will go wrong, and they start lending money to businesses. Eventually, what happens is that all that money drains away because you're living well, and then as the money goes to another country, you realize that wait a second, there's not enough money here to pay off this debt. And so what debtors feel is, well, there's not enough money in the system, so that's the real problem. No. You went and borrowed money at the wrong time. You didn't see the writing on the wall that deflation, because of the living off the hog, high off the hog, people started spending money buying stuff at another country, and all that money went over there. That's what you didn't notice. And so you're going to go out of business. You're going to sell all your assets, right? And you're going to sell it to somebody else who saved their Bitcoins for the time when there's a massive deflation. And so they can get it at a lower price and use it those assets in a much more improved manner than you did. And that's why people hate deflation. There's certain businessmen hate deflation and think that it's a boogeyman. It's not, because if you are prudent and you're watching everybody, living high off the hog, and with the massive I can't remember this word, proliferity. I'm trying to come up with this one word and I can't. It's in my head, but I can't say it. But anyways. I'm just high off the hog. You watch everybody like living like dangerously, and you go, I don't know that. I'm gonna be like saving all my Bitcoins, right? You're gonna get rewarded because in that deflationary cycle, you're gonna see all prices drop, and then you'll be able to buy assets at a cheap price and be able to live better in the future, and that's much better than you saving the money and then living poorer in the future. Right, which is better. Somebody who works hard, saves, and lives better in the future, or somebody who works hard, saves, and lives poor in the future? I mean, do you really need to do I need anybody to decide which one's better? Obviously, it's somebody who works hard should be able to get rewarded for that effort and saving and working saving that money for their future and planning better than somebody else who didn't plan, right? So that's why deflation is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. Alrighty, next question.
Next question. So this is from Monopoly Man, or AKA Super Google D, with a super chat, and I didn't understand this question. He said, "Hi Davinci, do you accept USD for membership? I promise myself I will never be part of BTC until it hits 100K."
Oh, so you want? Is there a way to purchase the purchase our Pandora's wallet? Pandora's wallet for USD. Not at the moment. I will look into it this week, and so I will let you know once we have something available. And yeah, we'll work on that for this week, and I'll have a meeting right after this video with my staff, and we will see what we can come up with as a solution for you. All right, well, one more question, and then we'll call it a day.
One more question. Okay, so I will save these super chats for the next stream. I never delete them. So the last question will be from B2 Batsia, and ask, why do we pay taxes if the Fed can print unlimited money?
Good question. Good question. Well, the reason why you pay taxes, right, and when the Fed can print unlimited money is, like, think about it for a second, right? You come up with, let's just pretend that you're the one who invented the Federal Reserve, and you can print unlimited amounts of money. You can do it and print money and just give it to yourself and give it to the government, right? And that would be that, right? And then you don't need to there's no taxes for anybody, right? But the problem is, right, you need somebody to chase after the money, right? And so the best way to chase after the money is if somebody has to owe you the money back, right? And if they owe, so if you print the money, if you lend them the money instead of just giving it to them and say, hey, you need to give that back to me plus interest, that means that there's always a need for that money that you print, because they need to give it back to you and they have to get more. And because you only printed the principal, not the interest, somebody else has to eventually go into debt. And because it's a debt-based system, right? And when you have debt-based money, right, and you loan it to somebody, you have to make sure that you can get it back. There has to be a reason. There has to be, hey, you know what? How are you going to pay this back, right? And the government's like, I don't know, I don't got any money. Well, yeah, you do. You can just tax your citizens, right? Yeah, you're right. I can tax my citizens. And so that's how taxes came to be, right? Because now they have a means of guaranteeing that loan of the money that the Fed loans to the government through taxation. And then so the next question is that you should really ask is, well, who gets the interest on the loan of the money to the government? Because that means I'm a slave to that person who printed that money for free. Yeah, you are. So the answer to that question is nobody knows. The money, there are owners to the Fed, and they're the best kept secret because nobody knows who those owners are. We can speculate it's the member banks such as J.P. Morgan Chase and the major banks like Bank of America and so forth, but that's still speculation. It could be somebody off on another side of the world, right? It could be the Rothschilds, right? Most likely it is the Rothschilds. And yeah, you're basically sending them money and with your tax dollars. So consider that. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody watching my videos, and it's been a great live stream. I enjoy answering questions and talking about the craziness that's going on in this world. It's insane in the membrane here, and yeah, stay safe, everybody. Stay home. Don't go out and don't party too much, or don't party at all. Actually, I mean it's unless you're partying at your home by yourself or with your family members,
It's not a
right?
bad idea. You can party through Skype. I'm going to do that.
Exactly. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. Party through Skype. But yeah, stay safe. You want we're probably all going to get this virus, but what the key is that we want to get have the spread of this virus very, very slow. We want to flatten the curve and make sure that not everybody inundates the hospital, so that we can all get treatment and move the death rate down to lower than 1%. So yeah, that's their goal, right? By staying home, and so consider that. All right, well, that's all it is for today. If you haven't seen this video popping up right here, please check it out, and bye for now.
Bye, people. Cheers.